Hello guys, welcome to the Heartbreak to Hot Girl podcast with your host, Natalie Vanessa. I am so pleased to be back again. I really enjoyed doing the last episode where I was just having a little chit chat with you girls because, like I said, this is our me time. This is us time. This is us strengthening our friendship, our relationship, like we really in this. And I appreciate every single one of you that come back again and again. Now, what's happening in my life at the moment? I mean, lots. So yesterday, I don't know when this will get out, but today is International Women's Day as I'm recording it. And yesterday I was on the panel with some amazing women with an event that was run by the Market Plug. So I had to make sure I got it right in my head. So the organization was called the Market Plug, and they run pop-ups where like different businesses come and showcase their stuff, and they had different stalls. And within that, they also had a section where they had a talk, and I was on the panel for it, which is incredible. This is definitely the space that I want to be going into, speaking engagements and all of that. So if you're listening and you got an event, guys, you can book me. I'm available at the moment. But yeah, I was on the panel with my girl, Natalie Leona. And if you guys follow my page, you will see Nat L on my page. And we've done meetups together and stuff. And we actually met on TikTok, funny enough. So we started off as internet friends, but now we are real life friends, like family. Like we're in deep. So yeah, I had the pleasure of being on the panel with Nat. Nat actually brought me in actually. So shout outs to Nat for that. And then there was also another lady on there called Ebony, who's also a business owner, entrepreneur, who also I think she's a co-founder of the event that was running as well. And then we were also joined by the mayor of Enfield. Yeah, me on the same panel as the mayor of Enfield. So that was pretty cool. Her name was Margaret Greer. So it was 4 of us on the panel, and we were just talking about motherhood, softness, finding your glow, and all of that. So I shall hopefully have some footage. It was filmed, so I will get that out one way or another. But it was a really inspiring space to be in. And I know that it really landed with the women that were listening. So, you know, as I was speaking and as the other women were speaking, like women were nodding, they were agreeing, they were, you know, I saw some people crying. It was a really safe space for women. And I'm just so proud and honored that I was able to be a part of that. So I'm getting emotional. I'm such an emotional babe, guys. I'm getting emotional thinking about it because this is what I've always wanted to do. And for me to be getting these opportunities and actually having the impact that I thought I could have is just incredible. And it just fuels me to keep on going. You know, I keep on showing up on the podcast because I may not know every single one of you that's listening to this. You may have never spoken to me. You may have never reached out, but you regularly check in with what I'm doing. I appreciate you. And if you're going through what you're going through at the moment and you don't feel strong enough to like speak or even reach out to me or reach out to anyone, the fact that you keep coming back here tells me that you are on the right track. Because everything that I talk about on this podcast, everything that I do with my life is about empowering and inspiring and moving forward past the hurt that we've been through. So even if you're feeling that hurt at the moment, the fact you're coming back and you're engaging with content like this and maybe other content as well is a great sign that you are on the right path, girl. And I'm so happy to have you here. And I hope maybe one day we can meet in person. I do have a lot more things that are happening in the pipeline. I'm making the announcement tonight. So by the time this podcast comes out, the announcement will be out with the things that I've got in the pipeline, but I don't feel like I can say it just yet. So come back next episode and I'll announce what your girl's been cooking up because I've been busy. Anyways, you are here to hear about this topic, ADHD. You've seen the title, and this is a very vulnerable episode, but that's all I know how to do, ladies. I just know how to be vulnerable. So I want to explore this topic. Bearing in mind, this is a very new thing for me. So I will explore it in the best way that I can. But before I get into it, you know what you need to do. Get your hot beverage, cold beverage. Today I have a glass of water with an N on it. If you're looking at the visuals, I have a glass of water, beautiful glass, and it's got the letter N on it, which I love. It's just very classy and chic, which is I. But if you want a hot drink, go and make that now, girl. Go and get your hot tea, whatever you want to do, because we're here to have a heart to heart. We're here to have a moment together. These are our special moments together. So make this special. Do you know what I mean? So let's get into it. So I thought I was just overwhelmed with life. And then I was diagnosed with ADHD. Oh gosh, not me hitting my mic. I was diagnosed with ADHD. And even me saying it, I'm not one for labels. So this does feel uncomfortable. And this is what I'm going to explore. I'm going to explore everything in realness and rawness, because I didn't have positive thoughts when I got my diagnosis. It wasn't like oh yay, I feel better now. Now I know they've got ADHD. It's my superpower. Da, da, da. I didn't feel that way. And I'll walk you through what happened to me. So this is 3 weeks ago, I got this diagnosis. As you know, guys, I'm a single mum, and that comes with its challenging, managing everything, like the day to day on your own. Yes, you might have a co-parent, you may have support outside the house, but the day to day upkeep of the house, the laundry, the finances, the cleaning, all of that stuff, the cooking is down to me as a single parent. And for a long time, I feel like I've been struggling. I feel like I've been coping, burning out, coming back, and just struggling. And I just knew something wasn't quite right. And I think this is why I want to talk about it publicly, because there could be other women that are listening to this that are single mothers, or maybe not even mothers, but feeling this sense of I'm just not okay and can't quite put their finger on it. And hopefully this will reduce the shame or remove the shame around mental health and neurodivergence and all of that stuff, because I'm speaking about this from the point of view of a Black woman, because I am in that community, as a single mother as well, as a woman in general, as a Christian, because there's also the religious side of things. I will speak about from all those points of view, because I really do understand that this stuff is multi-layered. I understand that. Yeah, there's so many things that go into the way that we think and what we believe and what we accept for ourselves. So I hope that I will touch on, all points as well. So if I'm to walk back through my life, back to being a child, I wasn't hyperactive. So this is a thing. A lot of people think that ADHD, I know it's got hyperactive. ADHD is attention deficit, is it hyperactive disorder? But the way it presents in women, sometimes we're not actually hyperactive. The hyperactivity happens in our brain. We're overthinkers. Our brain is loud, but on the face of it, we may be calm, look calm, appear calm, but inside it's chaos. That was me, and that is me. When you meet me, you'll be like, Natalie's just so chill. She's so calm and very put together and very poised. But my brain is ticking. I see things before they even happen. I can spot patterns instantly. I know where people are going. When they start talking, I know they're trying to fall. I want to jump in and be like, I know where you're going with this. I really know. And I'm realizing now that's a trait of ADHD brain. But in that, because your brain is so hyperactive, you recognize everything, it's quite easy to get burnt out. So as a child, I obviously didn't understand all of this. Yeah, everything was just overwhelming for me. I thought I had anxiety, and I probably do. That is a side symptom of ADHD. It can create anxiety, but social situations were just so overwhelming, and I would just go into myself. And as a child, I was mute. I mean, at school, people didn't really know me. I didn't put my hand up in class. I did okay at school, but I couldn't concentrate. I remember sitting in English, and they'll be reading a book, and then the teacher will ask you questions about the paragraph or the chapter we've just read, and I couldn't tell you, but I was reading it, but it wasn't translating into anything that made sense in my head. And I honestly thought I was dumb. I thought, yeah, I'm just not smart. I can't read. Evidently I can't read because I'm not understanding this. But somehow I managed to scrape by, and I came out with okay GCSEs. Got to sixth form now, and this is where, and if I knew I had ADHD, this is where it really started to present itself, because the subjects that I was super interested in, so that was sociology, loved it. I got an A in a coursework. This is going from someone that got D's, C's, maybe even some E's at GCSE. I was now getting A's in some of the exams, the coursework. Overall, I came out with a B, but that was my top grade. And I'm realizing now, after doing my research, that when you have an interest in something, you can really focus on it and do well. So that was telling me that, no, I'm actually not dumb. I'm actually smart. I just didn't care about the other subjects. I couldn't give a heck about science or maths. I hated it. But stuff about people, psychology, systems, communities, sociology, all of that, I'm like, ooh, let's talk about it. So yeah, my grades were like very different. I would, get A's in that. And then it came to English and I almost failed English. I had to really pull out of the bag last minute. So the discrepancies in my grades were, now I see, is very telling of ADHD. I went to uni, now obviously doing a topic that I am so interested in. I did health and social care undergrad, and then I did a postgrad in public health. I love talking about health, mental health, all of that. That is my bag. And I excelled. I was getting first class in coursework, almost got a first class overall, but both dissertations, both researches, I got top marks on it. And then I really realized, I was like, oh, Natalie, you're actually not stupid. Like, you're actually really smart. You just, weren't interested in what you were doing before. But again, at that age, I didn't know it was ADHD. I didn't think it was any kind of neurodivergence. I just thought that's just me. And going back in my life as well, like friendships, relationships, all of that, I can't say I had a whole bag of friends. Yeah, I preferred having one-on-one individual friendships. And it was because in a group setting, I just got overwhelmed. And when I got overwhelmed, I would regularly zone out. I would regularly be like, yeah, Natalie's checking out. This is too much. And then I put that down to me being an introvert. A couple of years ago, I had a blog. This is not my first rodeo online, guys. Like, I've been an online babe since 2009, here and there. But I had a blog called Quietly Ambitious, where I blogged about being an introvert, because I thought, and I do still think I'm an introvert, but a lot of the stuff that I was experiencing, like the overwhelm with social interactions, was probably just ADHD burnout. Because I do actually like connecting with people in small doses. So I'm still trying to work out, is that introversion or ADHD? I don't know. All these labels, listen, I'm just me at this point. I'm just me. But hopefully you can, maybe if you are dealing with stuff like this, maybe you might resonate and be like, oh, that was a bit of me. Like, I'm just not too sure. And I know some people say this all the time, but I just felt like something was a little bit different in me. I just felt like my perspective on the world was just a slightly bit different to my friends or people that are neurotypical, quote unquote. But I didn't know what that meant. And when I did experience the burnout, I would not even want to get out of bed. Like going to work, I remember in my early 20s, I used to cry because I did not have the get up and go. I was like, I can't do this. I can't get up. I can't motivate myself to go to work. And there were sometimes I didn't go in. I called in sick, and I've walked out of jobs as well because it just got too much. What do you mean I have to be at this place every single day and talk to these people? It was overwhelming. And I felt a bit ashamed with that because you know me, guys, I'm insanely ambitious. I want to do so many things, but sometimes I just don't have the mental capacity to do it. I don't have the energy to do it. And for a long time, I just thought, why do I keep starting things, stopping things? Why do I not have the get up and go? Like, am I just lazy? Am I just like unfocused? What is it? And you put that shame on yourself because you start telling yourself that, no, you should be doing more. We see all this like personal development stuff online, and we forget that a lot of this content, a lot of these books are probably written by quote unquote neurotypical people. So they're talking about life from their perspective, their point of view, and how their brain works and operates. And what I'm learning with ADHD is that our brain doesn't work like the stereotypical, the neurotypical way. And not that it's broken, it's just it works slightly different. But because we're in a society that has been set up by neurotypical brains, we now have to fit into this, and this is why we struggle with it. So I will go on to that a bit later. But if you have recently received an ADHD diagnosis or thinking you have ADHD, it is not a restriction in any way. It's just we now have to think about how can we create environments for us to thrive? And it does create extra work, extra discipline. But unfortunately, this is the society that we live in. If we were living in a different society that was run by ADHDers or neurodivergent people, we would flourish because the systems would support us. But the systems don't, unfortunately. So we have to adapt. So you're probably thinking, why did I even seek out an ADHD diagnosis at the age of 35? Like, I'm going to be 36 this year. Why at this point did I feel like I needed to go to the doctors? And you know what? Shout outs to my sister, shout outs to my friend Shay, because I was going through some things like last year before even, and I took myself to the doctors. So very vulnerable moment. I took myself to the doctors. I was burnt out. I didn't feel okay mentally. Not that I was in a bad place, so to speak, but I just knew I was on the edge of something. I felt like I was about to crack, like a nervous breakdown. That's where I felt like I was at. So I took myself to the doctors, explained what was happening. And, I said, I'm a single mother. Like, it's a lot. I've got a lot. At the time, I had some big financial issues on my head. I will share that one day. Thank God I got out of that. But a lot of financial pressures on my head, and I was stressed. I was burnt out, all of this stuff. So the doctors referred me to have CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy. Hated it. I've done therapy before, but I've done psychodynamic therapy. He sent me for CBT. I didn't like it. I was like, this ain't for me. So I cancelled it. But, speaking to my sister and stuff like that, and she's like, I'm starting to look at things like what could be wrong with me? What is it? And I started coming across some stuff on TikTok, and I was like, do you know what? I kind of relate to this stuff. And I mentioned it to my sister, and she's like, yeah, like low key or high key. I think you do, innit? So I started doing like the online ADHD tests. Each time they came back, most likely you have ADHD. I said, oh, okay, whatever. Did the test again, like on a different website. Yeah, like you probably have ADHD. You probably need to go and get checked out. And I left it for ages. And then one day on my platform, I posted and said, I think I was talking about like guys that I've dated. I always seem to get on really well with guys that were like neurodivergent, like autistic or ADHD or something. Like they had something going on. I just loved them. I was like, yeah. And I said, oh, I probably got ADHD as well. Like just saying it in passing. And this girl that, we followed each other for ages, actually. We've been like internet friends. She gave me this link to this website called Problem Shared. What I'll do is I will leave it in the show notes, because if you're in the UK, you can access this service. And basically it helps you get seen quicker. It's NHS, it's free, but it's a separate service that allows you to go through. It's like I think it's a private company, but you don't have to pay for it. But basically you get to bypass the waiting list times, or it's significantly reduced. So if I give you a timescale on how long it took me, so December, I think it was around December 11th, around mid-December, I went to my GP and told them I wanted to be referred to the Problem Shared. So that's what you book an appointment with your GP, and you tell them you want to be referred to this service, right? There's a form that the Problem Shared organization get you to do. So you fill that all out, and that is given to your GP. Your GP now does what they need to do. They approve the referral, get sent off, and then you wait essentially for the Problem Shared people to find the service provider that will reach out to you. So I did that around mid-December, and I got contacted, when was it? 4 weeks ago to book my appointment. So what was that? Like a 2.5 month wait, if my maths is right, 2-month wait, which I don't think was terrible. I think it was all right. Bearing in mind, when the girl told me about this was January last year, guys. And it took me from January to December to actually act on it. And that is such an ADHD thing to do. I was like, yeah, I should do it. Because, we put things off. Sometimes we procrastinate. Sometimes we get distracted and da-da-da-da. So I think it's hilarious that to get an ADHD assessment, you actually have to sit down and do this paperwork and actually be on top of appointments and da-da-da. But side note to that. Anyway, so they contacted me, got me to book in an appointment, and I had it was about an hour-long consultation with a psychiatrist, and that was just on a Teams call. They went through a whole host of questions. Sorry, before that I had to do an assessment. All these forms about like my history, childhood history, all of that right to present day. And then we went into it in more detail in the online assessment where I was with the psychiatrist. I'm really pleased as well, side note, that I was able to have a black woman. I didn't plan that. There was a list of, I'm sure are they psychotherapists or psychiatrists? Anyways, mental health people, professionals. And there was a list of names, and I kid you not, guys, I picked what I thought was the blackest name. She had a surname that I was like, yep, you are from somewhere in West Africa, because I know these surnames. I said, yep, I'm going to select you, because not that I didn't want to speak to a white person. I'm not like prejudiced in any way, but there is something about, there's a familiarity that comes with talking to people that look like you and can understand. So I was really pleased that she was a black lady. And I just felt when I was talking that she just got me. She got it. And at the end of it, and this is the bit where I start to feel a bit emotional and I'm trying not to cry. The tears are coming. But at the end of it all, she said to me, because I've achieved, I have achieved despite the challenges, because it's been tough. I got a scholarship to study my master's. I got my undergrad master's degree. I'm doing all right in my career, and I was able to buy a home. Like, I've done a lot, but it's not to say it's been easy. It's been so tough, and I realize why it's been tough, because I'm literally fighting against my brain, whereas some people don't have that fight. They can just do things. And at the end of everything, she said, she concluded that, yeah, I have ADHD. And then she took the time to commend me on everything that I've achieved despite having this condition. And now because this is fresh, guys, this is fresh. And I don't want to, I'm always coming on this here internet with tears in my eyes. It's not my intention, but it's bringing up feelings of, I felt so validated in that moment. I felt so like, wow, I'm not crazy. I'm not lazy even. I just have a slightly different brain to everyone else, and that's okay. And I literally burst into tears, started sobbing, and I was sobbing not just for myself now, I was sobbing for the little girl that found it difficult to make friends, the little girl that found it difficult to speak up, that struggled at school, was getting burnt out, struggled in jobs. I was mourning and crying for all those different versions of me up until that point. And it was a lot. It was like finally something clicked. Like in my life, things were together, but I still felt like something was off. In that moment when she said about ADHD, everything just went click. I know who Natalie is now. I knew before, but I really, really know. And I understand Natalie even more. And then I went on I would say I probably spiraled. Like I went on, it was like, when people talk about having a near-death experience, this is not a near-death experience, but in that moment where they have like the flashback of their whole life and everything comes to them in that one moment, that's how intense it was. I felt my whole life play back from the beginning to, my marriage and the difficulties I had in the marriage and how I was with my partner, and realizing that, oh my gosh, it was probably my ADHD that was making me frustrated and everything was coming to the forefront. And with that, it brought up a load of old wounds. I tell you, I cried that whole day. I remember it was a Thursday. I cried the whole afternoon. I cried at night. I woke up the next day, Friday morning. I was crying. I was really mourning. I was really grieving what was going on. I went to work, walked in with puffy eyes. My colleague was like, "Are you okay?" I was like, "Yeah, just not feeling too well, whatever." But I wasn't okay. I was trying to make sense of it, because as much as I was like, oh my gosh, this makes sense. But now I was learning that there is a stigma around ADHD. Like, bloody hell, how many stigmas can I deal with? Like, I'm single mom, divorced, now I've got ADHD. Like, there's stigmas that come with it all. And, I told a few people, and, people have their opinions, and some people don't understand this space. And this is me not trying to put them down in any way. But some responses that I got back, I thought, right, it's not everyone that's going to get it. It's not everyone that is going to allow space for you to feel what you're feeling. Some people don't want to deal with that stuff. And I quickly realized, like, oh, this is something that maybe people might not understand. And for a bit, I was like, I don't know if I'm actually going to come online and tell people I've got this, because I don't want to I'm not here to fly the flag of being ADHD. You're not going to see ADHD in my bio. Like, I'm not doing that. But I do think it's important to talk about it, especially I'm a Black woman in the Black community. I think it's really important for us to talk about this stuff, because a lot of our cultural beliefs and things that we believe is based in tradition. It's based in things that may not be true. It's wrapped up in religion, Christianity. Like, it is very complicated. And I know there are a group of people that, some people feel like this is like demon possession, or, it's not like it's not even an illness. This is the thing. I think people kind of misunderstand ADHD. It's not like, I don't see it as a disability. I just see it as my brain just takes a different route to get to whatever solution it needs to get to. That's it. And the reason why I found life difficult was because I didn't know what route my brain was taking. I didn't know what my brain was doing. So I was trying to function as a neurotypical person, but I'm not that. And I've accepted that. But in that 3 weeks, or the past 3 weeks, I really went on like up and down, felt shame, felt all of that. I really processed it. And then it got to a point and I was like, do you know what? This is not shame for me to carry. This is now another thing that I wear, like single motherhood, that allows me to connect with more people. I saw it as an opportunity because now there might be someone that comes to my page because they've heard about my ADHD story and they're like, oh my gosh, I've been going through the same thing. Like I'm struggling with that and I can really relate to you. Like there might be some people that you relate to more than others just because you might look like me. You might have grown up, had the same kind of upbringing as me, and we can relate on that sense. So I thought it's really important for me to come and share this because I don't know who it's going to help, but I'm not here to wear the label, so to speak. And with ADHD, there's obviously treatment with it. There's medication. You can have coaching. I'm still kind of deciding where I want to go with this. I know there is a lot of stigma around medication, especially again within the Black community. I keep bringing it up because it is something that, we need to kind of get around. And I need to do my own research into medication because I'm not even a medication babe. Like I don't even take paracetamol. Like the only time I used to take paracetamol was when I had really bad period cramps, and I don't get cramps anymore. They've disappeared. I don't know why. I can't explain it, but I don't have that pain anymore. But it was only when I had that I might pop an ibuprofen, that like just to ease the pain. But if I got a headache, if I got backache, I'm riding it out. I'm not a medicated babe. So for me to now consider taking medication for the ADHD, I don't know where I'm at with it. And I'm also, me mentioning this is also not welcoming your opinions on it, like respectfully. I am capable of doing my own research, and I know people have their own thoughts, people have their own views, and that is obviously wrapped up in what they believe and their values. But I will ultimately do whatever I need to do, because some people will look at me and say, oh, you don't have ADHD, like you're coping fine. Look how much you've done. But they don't see what I go through behind closed doors. They don't see in the morning when I wake up how much I have to coach myself to get out of bed, how much I have to create systems to make sure that I remember to do this. I have everything in a calendar. I have a shared calendar with my mum. I don't know what I would do without my mum, honestly. I've realized that she has been supporting me massively through my adult life. And it's probably because of this here little brain up here just needs extra support. It's not broken. It's just my little brain needs a little bit of extra support. And that might be, yes, through my mum. She'll remind me to do things. She'll come here. She'll tidy up, because keeping my place clean is, I'm not a dirty person, but keeping on top of cleaning the flat, oh my God, it's such a chore. And I will be investing in a cleaner. I will not have any shame around it. And yes, I will use my ADHD as an excuse to say I need a cleaner because I have ADHD. I can't do this. But in all jokes aside, that's what we need to think. If you have ADHD and you're listening to this, or you think you have ADHD, don't have any shame around putting these things into place to help you live a normal life. If you now need to invest in a cleaner so you can spend the time doing the things that matter. Because we know how much energy it takes us for me to wash the dishes. Do you know how much I have to pump myself up? I have a playlist, I call it my dopamine playlist now, to literally get me in the mood to wash up. I didn't realize that wasn't normal, guys. I didn't realize that neurotypical people just do things. They just, oh yeah, I've got to wash up, just do it. No, bro, I got to hype myself up and be like, yeah, we're going to wash these dishes. Come on. And that wasn't, well, I don't want to say it's not normal. It's just different from what other people do. So if you need to put things into place just so that you can function, do that without any shame. Okay. If you got the means to hire a nanny, if you got it like that, hire the nanny without shame. Don't let people be like, oh yeah, you should be looking after your own. Listen, do what you need to do. Okay. Take your kids to the hairdressers if you need to do it, instead of slaving away trying to do the kids' hair yourself. Do you know what I mean? Like, we want to live. Okay. We want to live and enjoy life. And if we've got these conditions that mean things are slightly harder for us, let's use the tools and resources available to us to make our life easier. So that's my story. That's where I'm at. Early diagnosis, no, it was late diagnosis, sorry, but early into me finding out about my diagnosis. So my views on this may change, it may grow, I don't know. We'll see. We'll navigate it. But I will touch base. I will, check in. And it'll be really good to hear if any of you, and do you know what? Side note, I suspect if you rock with me, if you relate to me, not that I'm diagnosing you guys, but I'm going to say a lot of my friends, we're all on the spectrum. Do you know what I mean? Birds of a feather flock together. So when I got my diagnosis, I messaged one of my friends and I said, girl, you might want to get checked because I get you and you get me. Like, we've got this unspoken friendship. Like, we don't even speak all the time. Shout out to you, Maria, if you're listening. Love you, girl. But we've got this thing. We don't see each other all the time. We might not even text, but I just know it's love. Like, I know how she operates. She knows how I operate. When we meet up, we're just mad together. We've got up to some stuff together. We got some stories. But I literally got my diagnosis. I said, girl, you might want to get checked because, I got it. I feel you got it too. So I say all that to say, if you rock with me, I don't know, not that I'm putting things on people, but listen, if you've got some symptoms that I suggested today, it's best to just go and get yourself checked. And it's not about putting labels on yourself to now embody that and use it as a way to stop you from progressing in life. Absolutely not. This is about progressing. This is about personal journey. This is about learning about yourself even more. And checking your mental health, going to get your health checks just gives you more information on who you are. That's it. So if you want to lead with the label of I have ADHD, then fine. If you just want to find out so I get burnt out because of this, how can I make my life easier? How can I make my life better? Because how can you make your life better if you don't know what's wrong? Because let's be real, everybody's got issues, everybody's got something up, everyone's got, do you know what I mean? Something going on. If we don't find out what those things are, how do we expect to move forward with our life? How do we expect to be better? Be better from what? We don't know where we're at. So this is an encouragement. If you're having these symptoms, if you're struggling, please don't struggle in silence like I did for years and years and years and years and years and years. I'm 35 now. And it's only now that I'm being diagnosed. And I need to probably do another episode because I've noticed a lot of single mothers in their 30s are being diagnosed with ADHD. And I think it's because, and this is a theory I need to work out in my head a bit more, I think when you're in the comfortability of a relationship, your partner probably can shield you from some of the symptoms you experience. They might step in places where you might not be able to step up and you don't realize that they're doing it. Because I remember with my ex, sometimes I just couldn't cook. I struggle with cooking sometimes. I just don't have to get up and go to cook. And he would cook. He would make sure that, let's not give him too much praise now. Let's relax on that. But he would cook. But when I didn't have that, I didn't have anyone to cook for me. So then there'll be times I just wouldn't eat. And when you don't eat, you can't function. And it could lead to not sleeping well, burnout, So those things, I think they exacerbate. Is that the word? I'm trying to use a big word there, but you know what I mean? I think, yes, exacerbated when I became a single mother because I didn't have the protection of another adult to be like, yeah, I'm going to help you there. It was me on my own now. So I think that's really interesting that, a lot of single moms are being diagnosed. And I don't think it's that they have just developed it. I think it's just, it comes out and becomes more apparent when they're single parents. That's a whole nother episode. If you want to have that episode, let me know. Drop me a comment down below and I shall happily talk about that. There's no like topics off limits here, guys. I keep saying we are real here. This is real life. I don't do this ish for the views, for the recognition. I don't do it for that. I do it because I genuinely feel like this is my purpose to do it. I've got a lot to give. I've got a lot to give back to people. And that's what I want to do. So we're going to talk about real stuff. If you've got some personal questions that you want to ask me with my ADHD or whatever, hit me up and I will plug my social media here. My personal Instagram account is natalievanessa.x. That's Natalie, can't even speak, getting cotton mouth. NatalieVanessa.x. That's the same on Instagram and TikTok. And then you can follow the Heartbreak to Hot Girl podcast page, which is Heartbreak to Hot Girl. And I'm just on Instagram for that at the moment. But drop me a follow, drop me a message, DM, whatever it may be. Drop a comment below. Send me an email. Like, all my details are there. Like, contact me, girl. If you want to ask, if you want me to cover a particular topic or explain something in more detail, I am here at your service, okay? I ain't getting paid for this. I do this out of the love of my heart. From my heart to your heart. As always, guys, it's been real. It's been so real. Thank you for rocking with me. I thank you for just being here. And long may this podcast continue. Love you guys. Make sure you stay hot. And I'll see you again next week. Bye.